So this is by no means a total list of the conditions that can be either created or exacerbated by um, substance use disorder and long-term heavy use of substances, even in a non-pathological way, meaning even if they don't meet criteria necessarily for a substance use disorder, long, heavy, what we might call social use can lead to all of these. But this is a good list, and it's we have the benefit of the authors from the Drug and Alcohol Dependence Journal here, spending some time on literature review, really looking at creating a data-driven list for us. So I thought that was useful to include in here. So this is a lot of good content in this particular slide here, but I wanted to point out this concept here. I actually read a book last summer. The name of it escapes me, but if someone's interested in um, what I'm talking about, I can look up the name of the book. It just escapes me at the moment. I didn't have it up. But the whole book is about how we've simultaneously solved, for the most part, world hunger by our ability to create wheat in particular on a mass level, on a kind of global mass level, and we have the capability to farm and to create and manufacture and move food and kind of foodstuffs around the globe, swear to a point where we have, to a some fairly decent extent, I guess, using quoting from the book, have eliminated hunger on a global scale, but we've simultaneously created a new problem, an unintentional consequence of much of that food is so devoid, processed food is so devoid of nutrients that we see now in the United States as well as other parts of the world, that people can appear not just nourished, but significantly overweight and actually be, when we run their blood work, tremendously malnourished, lacking, just lacking have the basic nutrients in their body because they eat, their primary diet is these hyper palatable foods, processed foods, things without basic, so devoid of even the small amounts of basic nutrients that a person can end up, as they say here, overweight and malnourished. Um, the One of the other things that they talk about here in terms of looking at their data and lit review data is that substances of abuse can tend to promote cravings for hyperpalatable foods. And certainly, if you've worked in addiction at all, you can come across people who are, significantly morbidly obese, from their addictions, or people who are emaciated uh, from their addictions. But they tend to, according to the data, whatever they do eat, it's generally void of nutrition. Alcohol myopathy, just if you haven't heard that term, it's simply the loss of lean tissue, and which manifests itself in muscle pain and muscle weakness. Um, uh, it's interesting they call it alcohol myopathy because that can absolutely happen in maybe many, if not all, of the drugs of abuse, at least in my experience. And alcohol and by proxy, other drugs of abuse can also compromise bone density and metabolism. So things, particularly long-term heavy use, can really take a toll on the body as well as the brain in many different ways. So as I'm looking back over these slides from the drug and alcohol dependence article, I realized that I did a good job of pulling out the points that kind of drive home how poor nutrition can cause manic or antisocial like behaviors we see in um, bullet point 3. It can exacerbate and inhibit, can exacerbate depressive symptoms and inhibit recovery from depression and other uh, mood symptoms associated with other illnesses. Um, but uh, but the other thing I didn't pull out of the article as well as I should have is that the reverse is also true in that adding nutrition and physical activities we saw from the style can absolutely make a significant positive impact in a person's ability to initiate and sustain addiction recovery and in a very positive way. So I might have been remiss in making sure I pull the positive messages out of here. So, but if you read through this and you think about well, all the awful things that can happen because of poor nutrition and how it can interact with substance use disorders in a very negative way, just remember the opposite is true. That when we can help a person, motivate them to infuse nutrition and make it available to them, right? So part of this is as much about availability as it is about